Because your ship, the Prometheus, was the only vessel that ever damaged them. They fear what humans might become. The Emperor's laugh was hollow. They'd promised us power if we eliminated your species. A loud explosion rocked the ship before Jin could respond. The reactors destabilizing, warned Mina through their comms. We need to evacuate now. Jin stared at the Emperor. Come with us. Help us fight the real enemy. Nak hesitated, then nodded slowly. Perhaps it is time for a different path. As they escaped the doomed flagship, the remaining Valaxian fleet received the Emperor's stand-down order. The battle for Earth ended not with the destruction of either side, but with an uneasy ceasefire. 2 months later, Jin stood on the observation deck of Earth's rebuilt defense station. The Prometheus hovered nearby, now the center of a growing fleet that combined human and Valaxian technology. Hana joined him, watching as shuttles moved between the former enemy vessels. Do you think the alliance will hold? It must, Jin replied. What we faced in the rift was just a scout. The Emperor's information confirms my worst fears. They're coming, and they're coming here. At least now we have a fighting chance, Hana said, gesturing to the combined fleet. Something we didn't have before you returned. Jin nodded, his gaze turning to Earth's blue surface. 200 years ago, we ran from a fight we couldn't win. This time, humanity stands its ground. He turned to her with determination in his eyes. And this time, we'll be ready. I can navigate through, but we'll need to find a stable path. As they deliberated, sensors blared a new warning. 3 Valaxian patrol ships had appeared at the edge of their scanner range. They'd followed us, Mina Choi said grimly. Activating the weapon systems. We can't outrun them in open space. Hana made her decision instantly. Into the rift. Now. Ryu nodded and pushed the ship forward. The Icarus plunged into the swirling chaos, engines straining against forces they were never designed to withstand. The hull creaked and groaned as reality itself seemed to bend around them. For 3 terrifying days, they navigated through the Cygnus Rift. Time behaved strangely, sometimes stretching, sometimes compressing. The crew took turns at their stations, fighting exhaustion as the ship's systems struggled to compensate for the impossible physics surrounding them. On the 4th day, Dr. Kang's excited voice broke through the tension. I'm detecting a pocket of stable space ahead, almost like a bubble within the rift. The Icarus pushed through one final barrier of distorted space and suddenly emerged into calm. Before them stretched a perfectly still region of space, like the eye of a cosmic hurricane, and there, floating serenely in the void, was a massive ship. The Prometheus, Hana whispered. The Supercarrier dwarfed their vessel, nearly 2 kilometers of gleaming hull, its design unlike anything in the current Earth fleet. It appeared undamaged but dormant, no lights visible on its surface. How is this possible? Mina asked. It's been 200 years. Because your ship, the Prometheus, was the only vessel that ever damaged them. They fear what humans might become. The Emperor's laugh was hollow. They promised us power if we eliminated your species. A loud explosion rocked the ship before Jin could respond. The reactors destabilizing, warned Mina through their comms. We need to evacuate now. Jin stared at the Emperor. Come with us. Help us fight the real enemy. Nak hesitated, then nodded slowly. Perhaps it is time for a different path. As they escaped the doomed flagship, the remaining Valaxian fleet received the Emperor's stand-down order. The battle for Earth ended not with the destruction of either side, but with an uneasy ceasefire. 2 months later, Jin stood on the observation deck of Earth's rebuilt defense station. The Prometheus hovered nearby, now the center of a growing fleet that combined human and Valaxian technology. Hana joined him, watching as shuttles moved between the former enemy vessels. Do you think the alliance will hold? It must, Jin replied. What we faced in the rift was just a scout. The Emperor's information confirms my worst fears. They're coming, and they're coming here. At least now we have a fighting chance, Hana said, gesturing to the combined fleet. Something we didn't have before you returned. Jin nodded, his gaze turning to Earth's blue surface. 200 years ago, we ran from a fight we couldn't win. This time, humanity stands its ground. He turned to her with determination in his eyes. And this time, we'll be ready. His tactical officer shook her head in wonder. According to their transponder codes, they're us, from 200 years ago. The Valaxian flagship, the Eternal Dominion, pushed through the chaos, its size rivaling the Prometheus. Emperor Nak stood on its command deck, his scaled face rigid with fury. "Target that human vessel," he ordered. "All weapons." The Eternal Dominion fired its main cannon, a beam of concentrated energy that could shatter small moons. It struck the Prometheus directly. For a moment, the Supercarrier vanished in blinding light. When visibility returned, the Prometheus remained, its shields flaring but intact. Jin gripped his command chair. Return fire. Quantum torpedoes, full spread. The Prometheus launched a volley of strange projectiles that seemed to flicker in and out of reality. When they struck the Valaxian flagship, they created localized gravity distortions that crushed sections of hull like paper. "Boarding teams prepare," Jin announced. "We're taking their flagship." Mina Choi led the assault team, now equipped with powered armor from the Prometheus's arsenal. Hana Park and Captain Jin joined them in the launch bay. "This is our chance to end this war," Jin told them. "The Emperor is on that ship." The boarding craft launched, weaving through the ongoing battle. They attached to the damaged sections of the Eternal Dominion's hull, cutting their way inside with plasma torches. Valaxian defenders met them with fierce resistance, but the advanced weapons and armor from the Prometheus gave the humans an edge they had never had before. They pushed steadily toward the command center, securing corridors as they advanced. Meanwhile, the battle outside shifted decisively. The Valaxian fleet, expecting an easy victory, found themselves outmaneuvered and outgunned by weapons they couldn't defend against. Ship after ship fell to the combined human force. On the Eternal Dominion's command deck, Emperor Nak received the news with growing rage. Impossible. How can primitive humans possess such technology? The answer came when his command center doors exploded inward. Captain Jin, Commander Park, and their team stormed in, weapons ready. "Emperor Nak," Jin announced, "your fleet is defeated. Surrender now." The Valaxian ruler's eyes narrowed. "You don't understand what you've done. The Ancient Ones will return now." "What Ancient Ones?" demanded Jin. "The same entity you encountered in the rift. They've been manipulating us, pushing us toward Earth. We are merely the harbingers." Hannah stepped forward. "Why attack us, then? Why not warn humanity?" As the first wave of Valaxian ships appeared near the lunar orbit, their weapons charged for the opening salvo. The largest ship, Emperor Nak's flagship, the Eternal Dominion, moved to the front of the formation. "No response to our surrender demand," reported a Valaxian officer. "Begin the bombardment," commanded the fleet admiral. The first wave of energy weapons struck Earth's outermost defense platform, shattering it into fragments. The second platform managed to fire its main cannon, destroying two smaller Valaxian vessels before it too was obliterated. "Final platform standing by," reported an Earth officer to General Su. "Valaxians moving into optimal firing range for planetary bombardment." Su closed his eyes briefly. "Hold position. Fire everything we have when they're in range." Just as the Valaxian fleet formed up for the killing blow, space behind them distorted. Multiple slip space portals tore open, and vessels began to emerge. First, the Prometheus, then a dozen ships of varying designs, all bearing Earth markings but upgraded with technology that made them gleam with unusual energy signatures. On every frequency, in every language humans spoke across the stars, a single message broadcast. "This is Captain Jin's song of the HS Prometheus. Humanity stands. Earth stands. And we have returned." On the defense platform, General Su stared at his display in disbelief as the legendary lost ship, nearly twice the size of any Valaxian vessel, moved between Earth and the enemy fleet. Its weapon systems came online, targeting the heart of the Valaxian formation. All ships, Jin commanded his makeshift fleet, engage at will. Protect Earth at all costs. The battle for Earth began with a blinding flash as the Prometheus unleashed its main weapon array. Beams of blue-white energy cut through space, passing through Valaxian shields as if they weren't there. 3 enemy cruisers exploded in silent bursts of light and debris. The Valaxian fleet reacted quickly, redirecting their attack from Earth to focus on this new threat. Hundreds of energy weapons fired at once, converging on the Prometheus. The Supercarrier's shields glowed as they absorbed the onslaught, vending light around the massive ship. "Shields holding at 87%, reported Commander Rin calmly. Captain Jin nodded, his eyes fixed on the tactical display. "Athena, coordinate our allied vessels. Target pattern Delta." The AI's voice echoed through the command center. "Acknowledged. Transmitting targeting data to all ships." The small fleet of reclaimed human vessels moved with surprising coordination, each focusing fire on specific weak points in the Valaxian formation. Ships that had once been mining vessels, or colony defenders, now carried weapons salvaged from the Prometheus' storage base, cutting through enemy hulls with unexpected power. On Earth's last defense platform, General Suyun watched in amazement. "Who are these people?" he asked. Commander Hannah Park moved through the dim archives, her footsteps echoing in the silence. The military data center was nearly abandoned these days, most resources diverted to the desperate war effort. She ran her hand along the old storage units, hoping to find something, anything, that might help Earth survive. The Valaxian warships had appeared 3 months ago, their massive fleet darkening the skies over major cities. Humanity's defense fleet, once thought powerful, had been systematically destroyed. Only a handful of ships remained, and Earth's surrender seemed inevitable. Hannah's fingers paused over a locked data crystal marked with faded warning symbols. She inserted her override key and watched as ancient files flickered to life on her tablet. Her eyes widened as she read. "The Prometheus," she whispered. The HSS Prometheus had been Earth's greatest achievement, a supercarrier unlike any vessel ever built, with experimental systems decades ahead of anything else. According to official records, it had been destroyed during humanity's first interstellar conflict 200 years ago. But these classified files told a different story. The Prometheus hadn't been destroyed. It had disappeared while investigating strange energy readings in the Cygnus Rift. Its last transmission mentioned encountering something ancient and powerful before all contact was lost. Hannah downloaded the files and hurried through the underground corridors to the emergency command center. The room buzzed with grim activity as military personnel tracked the movements of the Valaxian fleet. "Director Kim," she called, approaching her superior. "I need to speak with you urgently." Director Ta Kim looked up from a holographic display of Earth's dwindling defenses. His face was lined with exhaustion. "What is it, Commander Park?" "I found information about the Prometheus. It might still exist." Kim's expression hardened. "The Prometheus is a myth, Commander. A story we tell to inspire recruits." "No, sir. It was real." She placed her tablet on the table, displaying the classified files. "And I believe we can find it." Kim studied the data, his skepticism slowly giving way to desperate hope. Even if it survived, the technology would be ancient by our standards. "That's just it, sir. The Prometheus was testing experimental systems we've never been able to replicate. Even by today's standards, it would be our most powerful vessel, if we can find it." 2 days later, Hannah stood before the Earth Council, the last functioning government body, as nations had united against the alien threat. She explained her discovery and proposed a mission to find the lost supercarrier. "This is folly," said Council Member Bake. "We need every resource for Earth's defense." Admiral Sung rose from his seat. "There is no defense left. The Valaxians have demanded our unconditional surrender by the end of the month. Their weapons can crack our planet like an egg. He turned to Hana. What exactly do you need, Commander? The Icarus, she replied. It's our last stealth ship, small and fast enough to slip past the Valaxian blockade. After hours of debate, the Council approved her mission. 1 week later, Hana stood in the hangar before the sleek, black hull of the Icarus. Her small team had been assembled. Chief Engineer Jun Lee, a genius with engines, quantum physicist Dr. Da Kang, who understood the strange physics of the Cygnus Rift better than anyone, combat specialist Mina Choi, whose record in the early battles against the Valaxians had made her a legend, and pilot Hyun Ryu, who could fly through a storm of enemy fire without a scratch. You really think this ship exists? Asked Mina as they loaded the last of their supplies. I do, Hana replied. And if it doesn't, we've lost nothing that isn't already lost. The launch was conducted under cover of darkness. The Icarus slipped from its underground hangar and accelerated into the night sky. Valaxian ships orbited above, but pilot Ryu navigated between their sensor ranges with practiced precision. As Earth shrank behind them, Hana gazed at the blue planet through the viewport. Large sections of Asia and North America were darkened, cities destroyed in the initial attacks. The sight strengthened her resolve. Setting course for the Cygnus Rift, announced Ryu from the pilot's chair. Estimated arrival in 6 days if we avoid detection. Hana nodded, studying the ancient star charts that marked the Prometheus's last known position. The mission was a long shot, she knew that. But as the Icarus accelerated to faster than light speed, leaving the solar system behind, Hana felt something she hadn't experienced in months. Hope. The Icarus slowed as it approached the Cygnus Rift, a massive tear in the fabric of space that pulsed with strange energies. The ship's viewports darkened automatically as waves of radiation washed over the hull. Light twisted and bent around them, creating impossible colors that made the crew's eyes water. This is where the Prometheus disappeared, Hana said, her voice hushed with awe as she stared at the swirling cosmic anomaly ahead. Dr. Da Kang studied the readings on his console with growing excitement. These energy patterns matched the final transmission from the Prometheus. We're in the right place. The ship shuddered as it drew closer to the rift's edge. Warning alarms flashed across every control panel. Hull integrity at 80%, reported Engineer Jun Lee. The spatial distortions are stronger than our shields were designed to handle. Pilot Hyun Ryu's hands moved with practiced precision over the controls. The air before them shimmered, and a holographic figure appeared, a woman-like shape composed of light and complex symbols. Welcome back, Captain Song, the AI said, her voice warm despite its artificial nature. I have maintained essential systems during your sleep. Hana and her team stared in amazement. Earth's AI systems were primitive by comparison. Athena, what is your status report? Jin asked. All core systems are operational. Weapons at 86% capacity. Shields at 92%. During your cryostasis, I continued analyzing the data from our encounter with the ancient entity. I have made significant upgrades to our defensive and offensive capabilities based on those findings. Jin turned to Hana. Before we were trapped here, we encountered something beyond description. It nearly destroyed us, but we managed to capture some of its technology. Athena has spent years integrating it into our systems. Chief Engineer Jun approached a nearby console with reverence. This technology, it's unlike anything we have now. These weapon systems could cut through Valaxian shields easily. Wake the crew, Jin ordered. All essential personnel first. Over the next hours, the Prometheus came alive as more cryopods opened. Medical officers, engineers, and weapons specialists emerged, each responding with shock and determination when told of Earth's plight. Commander Rin, Jin's second-in-command, coordinated the revival efforts with military precision. The ship is responding well, she reported, all systems coming online. In engineering, the Prometheus's massive engines hummed with growing power as Jin's crew worked alongside Jun Lee. The engine core glowed with strange blue-green energy that didn't match any known human technology. "We modified our drive system after the encounter," explained Chief Engineer Wook as he showed June the controls. "It draws power directly from the quantum foam, essentially unlimited energy." Mina Choi was equally impressed by the weapons bay, where Officer Han demonstrated weapons systems that seemed impossible. "These phase torpedoes exist partially outside normal space," Han explained. "No conventional shield can stop them." Meanwhile, in the Valaxian fleet, Supreme Commander Vex received troubling reports from his scouts. Strange energy signatures had been detected within the Cygnus Rift, signatures that matched no known ship type. "Send a scouting party," he ordered. 3 destroyers. Investigate, but do not engage unless necessary." Dr. Kang studied his readings with amazement. Time flows differently here. According to these calculations, while 2 centuries passed outside the rift, only about 5 years have elapsed within this pocket dimension. Engineer Lee scanned the massive vessel. "I'm detecting minimal power signatures. Life support systems are active, but running on emergency reserves." They cautiously docked the Icarus with the Supercarrier's main hangar bay. The team donned environmental suits and made their way through the airlock. Emergency lights flickered dimly as they entered the Prometheus, casting long shadows across the vast hangar deck. "The air is breathable," confirmed Dr. Kang after testing the atmosphere, "but cold. The ship is conserving energy." They moved deeper into the vessel, passing through silent corridors that showed no signs of battle damage or struggle. Eventually, they'd reached the cryostasis chamber, a massive room filled with hundreds of pods, each containing a sleeping crew member. They put themselves in suspended animation. Hannah realized, brushing frost from the nearest pod's view screen to reveal a man's peaceful face. Dr. Kang examined the central control console. According to the logs, they encountered something they called an entity beyond comprehension. They were damaged in the encounter and trapped in this pocket dimension. With no way out, Captain Jin Song ordered the crew into cryostasis to conserve resources, while the ship's AI worked on a solution. Hannah found the pod labeled Captain and studied the man inside. His uniform was different from modern Earth military designs, but the determination in his frozen features was familiar to any soldier. "Can we wake them?" she asked. "Yes," Dr. Kang replied, already working on the controls. "The systems are intact. I'm starting with the captain." The pod hissed as it began its revival cycle. Frost melted away from the glass as the temperature inside rose gradually. Minutes passed, and then Captain Jin Song's eyelids flickered. He drew a sharp breath, his first in 5 years, and his eyes opened slowly, focusing on Hannah's unfamiliar uniform. "Who are you?" he asked, voice hoarse from disuse. "Commander Hannah Park of Earth Defense Force," she replied. "Captain Song, you've been in cryostasis for 5 years here. But outside this rift, 200 years have passed, and Earth needs your help more than ever." Captain Jin Song moved through his ship with a mixture of pride and disbelief. Though his body felt weak after years in cryostasis, his mind was sharp as he tried to process what Commander Park had told him. 200 years had passed. Everyone he had known on Earth was long dead, and now his homeworld faced extinction at the hands of an alien empire. "The Valaxians have technology far beyond our current capabilities," Hannah explained as they walked the main corridor of the Prometheus. "Our ships were no match for theirs." Jin nodded slowly. "Show me what this enemy is capable of." In the command center, Hannah displayed footage of Valaxian warships in action. The alien vessels moved with frightening speed, their weapons cutting through Earth's defenses like paper. Jin watched without comment, his expression hardening. "ATGNA, are you still functional?" he called out suddenly. The Valaxian scout ships entered the rift cautiously, their advanced sensors struggling against the spatial distortions. They followed the energy trail left by the Icarus, unaware they were being monitored. On the Prometheus, ATGNA alerted Captain Jin to the approaching threat. 3 Valaxian destroyers have entered the rift. They will reach our position in approximately 40 minutes. Jin turned to Hana. Are these ships representative of their fleet's capabilities? She nodded grimly. 3 destroyers like those wiped out an entire Earth battle group. Jin's expression didn't change. Then this will be a good test of our systems. He activated the ship-wide communication system. All hands to battle stations. This is not a drill. Throughout the enormous vessel, lights brightened to full power for the first time in years. Crew members who had just awakened from cryostasis moved with increasing confidence to their posts. Shields at full capacity, reported Commander Rin. Weapons systems online, added Officer Han. Jin took his place in the captain's chair. Athene, battle strategy options. The AI displayed a holographic tactical map. I recommend we allow them to approach to optimal firing range. Their sensors will be compromised by the rift's energies. They will not detect our weapons lock until too late. Jin nodded. Make it so. The 3 Valaxian destroyers moved closer, their sleek, predatory forms becoming visible against the swirling energies of the rift. On their command bridges, alarms suddenly blared as they detected the massive energy signature of the Prometheus. What is that? Demanded the lead destroyer's captain just before his sensors showed weapons lock. The Prometheus fired. Streams of blue-white energy lanced out, passing through the Valaxian shields as if they weren't there. The lead destroyer exploded silently in the void. The other 2 ships turned to flee, but the Prometheus's targeting systems were too precise, too fast. In less than 30 seconds, all 3 Valaxian destroyers were reduced to floating debris. In the command center, Jin stood quietly as his crew cheered. Athene, he said, plot a course for Earth. The Prometheus emerged from the Cygnus Rift like a ghost from legend, its massive hull reflecting the distant starlight. Captain Jin stood on the bridge, taking in the changed star patterns of familiar space. 200 years had altered even the heavens themselves. Set course for Earth, he ordered. Captain, Commander Rin said quietly, sensors are detecting distress signals from multiple locations, human colonies under attack. Jin studied the tactical display. The nearest, Nova Haven, a mining colony established 70 years ago according to Commander Park's data, currently under siege by Valaxian forces. Jin didn't hesitate. Change course. Maximum speed. The supercarrier's enhanced engines engaged, space bending around the vessel as it accelerated to speeds no Earth ship of the current era could match. They arrived at Nova Haven in hours instead of days. The colony was a small settlement built into an asteroid belt, its defenses clearly failing against 3 Valaxian cruisers. Without warning, the Prometheus appeared behind the attacking ships. Open a channel to the colony, Jin ordered.